Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. In today's video we're going to be taking a quick look at the recently released Transformers War for Cybertron Trilogy Golden Disc Collection Chapter 3 Mutant Tigatron. I've actually been really excited for this. In my opinion, Tigatron is probably one of the best Beast Voyagers that this line so far has seen, and of course he is in fact inspired by a previously cancelled Beast Wars figure that was essentially going to take Tigatron and give him a predominantly orange colour scheme, and the actual backstory behind this figure is incredibly interesting, but we'll discuss that later on in the review. Very quickly taking a look here at the package. In my opinion, this is leagues above from what we saw from the Galactic Odyssey range last year. You can see completely colorized. We've got part of the golden disc, in fact, floating in what appears to be the solar system, which looks awesome. As we spin here to the side once more, we've got some more golden disc detailing, with the back of the box showcasing some fantastic product shots of course, Tigatron there in robot mode, sporting that wicked mutant mask, and of course, the Tony the Tiger alt mode there, looking once again fantastic. So without further ado, let's in fact actually crack open this mutant Tigatron and see how awesome he actually is in hand. And so here we have the mutant Tigatron cracked open and out of the packaging, and as to be expected, this guy's turned out great. Honestly, a really nice repaint slash retool. Now, for those of you unfamiliar with the backstory that actually goes on behind the scenes of this guy, essentially this particular incarnation of Tigatron, I believe, was infected by either some form of virus or a storm that essentially wiped out the majority of the Maximals and the Predacons, and those that were left were really damaged. They actually lost all of their memory. In particular, Tigatron didn't even know he was aligned with the Maximals, and it gave them some really nasty mutations, such as of course this rather unusual head design that we've got going on, and basically turned him into a murdering Predacon. A really cool concept, and of course a complete 180 from his original backstory in the original Beast Wars series. So really cool, and this figure here in my opinion is a great almost alternate reality version of this guy, and I honestly have no issue in displaying both this guy and the original Tigatron in the collection. Now we'll waste no time at all and of course get stuck straight here into the details. Of course this figure is all about that brand new head sculpt, and honestly this looks super ferocious. I love the mutant mask designs. Of course these are heavily inspired by some of the older Beast Wars toys, but I think this time done with modern technology they've actually never looked better. I love the really awful looking eyes that we've got going on there. They look so freaky, really menacing. These have been picked out with a very nice copper, and you can in fact actually see the colour of blue they've used is an almost perfect match to some of the shade of cast plastic that we'll see scattered throughout the figure. You can see some awesome fang detailing there. I love the crest design. Overall, just such a wickedly awesome looking head. Now the rest of the figure, if you own the previous Tigatron, is essentially the exact same, albeit one of the best molds in my opinion this line has seen so far. You can see some lovely disc detailing here for these actual shoulder regions, of course harking back to the original design. I think the colour scheme looks awesome. Of course it looks really like Tony the Tiger, especially when we get him transformed up, but in robot mode I think it works really nicely. Of course we've got the tiger head slap bang there in the centre with some wicked paint apps. I think the colour of plastic looks great. Overall it's just a wicked sculpt. Now of course it did borrow some engineering from Cheetor, but in my opinion did that so much better. In particular here would be the shins. I love how these do in fact actually recess here into the legs. That looks so cool, and you can see even here for the foot design that looks wicked. As we spin our attention here to the back, really it's up to your own personal preference on how you choose to display these legs. You can of course crisscross them, or as I like to display them, just sort of flared here out to the sides, but overall a very awesome looking robot mode. Now we'll very quickly go through articulation. Of course we get the same ball joint here at the head, which can look left to right as well as tilt up and down ever so slightly. Full rotation here at the shoulder, as well as a faux butterfly joint due to transformation, which can go forwards and backwards. Hinge joint out to the sides, full rotation here at the bicep, double joints here at the elbows due to transformation, full wrist rotation, full waist rotation. The legs can kick forwards that far, back that far, out to the sides, rotation at the thigh, 90 there at the knee, and of course finally here at the foot, this can pivot forwards, backwards, as well as rock side to side. And surprisingly, all of the paint on this guy's turned out really nicely. So here for the thigh pads, the shin pads, all of that looks really clean, and also here for the stripes, which we'll see more of in beast mode, also look really nicely done. So overall, in terms of robot mode, I think this guy looks fantastic and very menacing, as his backstory of course depicts him as. Now we'll very briefly go through the accessories. Of course the exact same ones that we saw with the original Tigatron. So here we get the gut gun, this time done with a very nice pink detailing here, of course to give you the impression of guts. I think the orange plastic they've used here looks wicked, can be inserted into either of the figure's hands, and we do in fact also see the tail whip, which I've never really been a huge fan of, but I guess it's something that you can do. Maybe if Tigatron wants to whip his opponents into actually giving them information, I guess this is a weapon he can use, and then once he's done with them he can just literally blow their brains out utilizing his own gut gun. So with the bot mode fully covered, let's very quickly go through some comparisons. Here we have Tigatron compared next to a few other mutant themed figures, that being Shadow Panther and the Worlds Collide 4-pack Black Arachnia, once again looking fantastic. And surprisingly this isn't just an upscale of the actual Shadow Panther head sculpt. I expected them to essentially just reuse this, but nope, it's a complete brand new sculpt. You can definitely see where the eyes are concerned, that there is a lot sharper here on the Voyager figure, and the actual crest too is different, as so are the sections here for the front of the face. And as we actually spin to the back, due to transformation, it is a complete brand new design, so that definitely is wicked to see, and both very, very nicely done sculpts. Of course, this being a Voyager, you are able to better appreciate some of the detailings of which may have gone slightly missed here for Shadow Panther, and of course Black Arachnia had a wicked head sculpt as well, so I'm really hoping that maybe we can see a mutant version of Optimus Primal, and especially Megatron, as Megatron had probably one of the most bizarre mutant masks that we've ever seen. When it was in fact actually retracted, he had these almost bat wings, and then when it was deployed, he really did look incredibly fierce, so definitely hoping for a mutant inspired version of him in the future. But Tigatron here definitely looks really awesome with the likes of Black Arachnia and of course Shadow Panther. And here for one final comparison, of course we've got the mutant Tigatron compared next to a Tigatron of which is actually being completely blasted out here by my review station, but you can see in regards to the actual robot mode they are essentially exactly the same besides the colour scheme, and of course the head sculpts massively differ. But once again, I have no issue in actually thinking of this mutant Tigatron as being an almost a mirrored or shattered glass universe version of Tigatron, especially as he actually hates the Maximals. It would be a really awesome battle to in fact actually see both versions of Tigatron go head to head. But really nice looking head sculpt on this guy, and of course this originally was just such a fantastic mold. Now as we turn to transformation here for mutant Tigatron, it is exactly the same as of course the original version. So to begin with, you are going to want to hinge these shoulders here out to the sides. We can take these panels, disengage those, and in fact actually snap them here into these shoulder plates. Of course, come to this side and repeat the same process, so snap that in there. We can then come here to the elbow joints, and you're in fact actually going to want to shoot this down on that double hinge joint, and then these will in fact actually peg here into two tabs. So just rotate that, snap that there into place. Of course, come to this side, shoot that section down, hinge this out to the sides, snap that in there. We can then come here to the actual tiger head, disengage this region, and in fact actually pull this forwards, which I thought was great engineering. And then the actual bot mode head does conceal within and fills out this panel, which is super cool. So just snap that in there. We can then peg that into place, come here to the front, and in fact fold these two sections in upon themselves. We can then bring down the tiger legs, just orientate them like so, and then for some finishing touches, honestly the transformation is quite simplistic. Just take the heel spurs, retract those there into the front of the feet. We can then take the tiger legs, pull these forwards, and in fact actually shoot these shin panels forwards just to conceal the hollowness, which is a great touch. And of course come to this side and of course repeat the same process. We can then take these tabs, which will peg into some slots on the inside, so just snap that section in, and of course snap that section in there, orientate these accordingly on both sides. The joints are super tight on this guy as well, so there is no evidence of the mold in fact actually degrading, which is wicked. And then of course we shall bring in that tiger tail, insert that here into the back, and there we've got mutant Tigatron fully transformed up into his beast form, and honestly looking just as impressive as the robot mode in my opinion. Definitely by far one of the best and most coherent beast forms that we've seen across this line so far. It's so wickedly done. The anatomy on this guy is literally down to a T. Honestly, the team over at Hasbro and Takara did a wicked job. The proportions all appear on point, and the paint apps are honestly some of the best that I've seen for a mass retail figure. In particular here would be the face sculpt. That is by far one of the best beast sculpts that we've seen so far, with the actual irises painted. I think the attention to detail there for the stripes looks wicked. I love the white and orange fade that we've got going on, the whiskers as well as the nose detailing. If we actually drop the jaw down, it does in fact expose the top as well as the bottom row of teeth, fully painted as well as sculpted, which looks awesome. So unlike Grimlock, we aren't in fact actually missing the front row, which is awesome. You can once more see some nice white fur detailing here for the shoulders. We've got those black stripes, and of course this looks undoubtedly like Tony the Tiger, of course, from Frosties, but I actually think it's a super cool colour scheme. You can see here from the top, really cohesive. The only area which looks slightly unusual sadly is this blue hinge. If they'd found a way to in fact actually paint it or cast this out of orange, the figure would have looked really wicked. But as it stands, I still think it's a fantastic looking figure. Even here from the back, the way they've sculpted the tail, I just think overall it's super cool. Now in regards to articulation, sadly no form of head swivel, which really would have been the icing on the cake, but we do of course get the hinge joints, or should I say ball joints, here at the shoulders, which can go out to the sides. We get a hinge joint here at the elbow, as well as a ball joint and a hinge joint here for the foot, and here for these hind legs, these two can also hinge back and forth, hinge here at the knee, and then finally the same hinge at the foot as well as ball joints. So overall, definitely one of the most articulated beast forms. Now if you're looking for a place to in fact actually store the gut gun, it does just sadly hang here on the underside, but honestly not looking too bad at all. And of course here in Tiger mode, it is exactly the same as the white Tigatron that we saw in Kingdom Wave 3, so I won't give you a comparison there, just as essentially it's just the colour which differs, but definitely a very awesome beast form to accommodate a wicked looking robot mode. So some final thoughts for for this Transformers Golden Disc Collection Mutant Tigatron. Overall, as far as repaints are concerned, I think this guy's wicked. Honestly, bot mode looks fantastic. That new mutant head sculpt really is the icing on the cake for me. It just makes him look so intimidating, and it really does fit this character's backstory. He does look like a savage, and definitely looks as if though he would be more aligned with the Predacons than the Maximals, and honestly, I would not want to confront this guy at all, as he's even got a scarier face sculpt than the likes of Waspinator and Scorponok. Really, really awesome. I love this mold in general. I think the articulation is fantastic. The proportions in bot mode are wicked. I think the actual Tiger mode itself is probably the best beast form that we've seen across the board for this line, not only in terms of detail, proportions, anatomy, as well as actual detail, but of course articulation. Articulation is the best. If they'd given him a head swivel, he probably would have been a solid 10 out of 10, and I think the accessories are also really nicely done, that being the gut gun, and of course the tail whip, which is a little less desirable, but it really is all about that gut gun. So with all that being said, if you're a fan of the Tigatron mold, you're in fact actually a fan of some of these more obscure repaints, in particular cancelled repaints that never actually saw the light of day, then I would definitely recommend to pick this guy up. He looks enough different on the shelf when in comparison to the original Tigatron, and as mentioned beforehand, you can in fact actually use this as an almost mirrored / shattered glass universe version, which is definitely how I'll be displaying him on the shelf. So all that being said, that just about wraps up my review here for the Mutant Tigatron. I'd love to know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Of course, be sure to let me know on what you guys also thought of the review, and until my next review, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.